This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. I'm here with Peter Liem outside Toronto Sherryfest, the very first Sherryfest in Toronto, and most probably the largest sherry tasting in Canada ever. How are you today, sir?
Very well, thank you.
Now tell me a little bit about your obsession with sherry and how it came about and how Sherryfest came into being.
Well, I think unlike most people, I was introduced to sherry very early on in my wine career. So I've been a fan of sherry for nearly 20 years. I've been traveling the sherry region for 15 years, since 1998. And so sherry has become, it has become a great passion of mine. In 2012, I published a book on sherry. It's the first entirely new sherry book in English to be published in North America since 1988, in fact.
Oh, goodness me.
So it's been a long time. I thought that there was a need for a new sherry book, and I wanted to be the one to write it. I originally envisioned Sherryfest as essentially a large book launch party. So I wanted it to coincide with the launch of my book. I wanted to bring producers over to the States, specifically New York, and host a large sherry event in New York. I enlisted the help of my friend Rosemary Gray, and so together the two of us created the first Sherryfest in the fall of 2012 in New York City. And Sherryfest quickly took on a life of its own, above and beyond simply the launch of my book. It was, it was something that we decided to try and do in other cities. We went to Portland, Oregon in the spring of 2013. And we did a second edition of Sherryfest in New York in the fall of 2013, and then brought the show here to Toronto.
Now, how do you feel today's appreciation of sherry is in those three cities you just mentioned?
It's fantastic. New York is certainly one of the great epicenters of the modern day, kind of renaissance of sherry appreciation, and then that was really one of the big reasons that I wanted to do the first Sherryfest in New York. Portland, Oregon is fantastic. It's a great wine city in general. There's very vibrant food and wine culture there, and there are a lot of people embracing sherry in a big way. This is my first time to Toronto ever, so I can't speak so much about this city. But just from the event today, I was really impressed with the turnout and with how passionate people are, how inquisitive they are, how excited they were to be tasting sherry. And so I'm really thrilled to be here.
Now, my big question when it comes to sherry, or rather the question I am asked most often, is how do you go about pairing sherry with food? Because you have all of these different styles of sherry, and how do you go about pairing sherries with food?
Well, its stylistic diversity is one of sherry's great strengths, and so sherry. It's no secret. If you talk to anybody related to sherry, any producer in the sherry region, they will tell you that sherry is always at its best with food. And different styles of sherry, different types of sherry pair with different things, and so you have this incredible diversity of styles. So already in that you can find different sherries to accompany various foods that you're eating, but also specifically Fino and Manzanilla, which age under floor, and then by extension Amontillado, which starts off life under floor. The floor conveys a character to the wine that is very unusual in the wine world, and that makes it incredibly versatile at the table. So, if you think about like foods that are notorious, so-called wine killers, like asparagus or artichokes, or I guess things that start with A, anchovies, right? These kinds of things, or think like eggs, or these things that other wines might have trouble with. Fino not only accepts these flavors, but actually thrives alongside them.
Vinaigrette in salads being a perfect example there.
Exactly. And so there is no wine in the world that's more versatile than sherry when it comes to food pairing. And I think that's something that I think that's really something that allows us allows a modern wine consumer to embrace sherry.
So you definitely have viewed a renaissance in sherry over the last 5-10 years.
Yeah, there's no question. It's even shorter than that. I think within the last 3 to 5 years, sherry has has entered the consciousness of the North American wine market in a huge way.
Peter, thank you very much for joining us at Good Food Revolution today. We really appreciate you bringing Sherryfest to Toronto.
Well, thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.